Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and this week I really want you to take this on board because you cannot create a new reality from an old identity. And I want you to realize that it doesn't mean that you're broken, doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. It's just because that's not the way that humans work. And once you see this truth, you are going to understand why you've been looping in the same patterns, not getting any different results, even though you're doing all the work, doing all the healing. But let's break this down and make it really uncomfortable but very real. Trying to change your life without changing your identity is like trying to change your habits while you're keeping the exact same environment. Nothing is going to change. And you might say that you want the discipline, but you wake up, you grab your phone, you scroll for 30 minutes, you rush out the door, and you start the day, and you're already behind, and you're not changing any of those habits. You shame yourself for having no motivation to do the things that you want, but motivation is not your problem. The problem is that your identity is organized around chaos, and that is the familiar zone to your brain. So you're going to stay there. It's like trying to eat healthier while you still identify as somebody that has no willpower. So every time that you're tired, you're emotional, or you're stressed, your brain is going to go, well, this is just who we are. And you're going to reach for some terrible food, some sugary stuff, some fatty food. It's not because you're weak, it is because your identity is consistent with who you believe that you are and who you are identifying with, and it's going to keep you there. And this is a big one for women. So it's like imagining yourself wanting more self-worth, but you're still identifying as a people pleaser and someone who overgives to everybody. You answer all your messages immediately, you explain yourself too much, you say yes when actually you really mean no, and then you are left wondering why you feel drained, resentful, and invisible. Your life is responding perfectly to who you believe that you're allowed to be in life. I want to hit on relationships slightly as well, because it's like wanting a secure, calm relationship, but still identifying as the one who overthinks, she waits, she's checking all the messages, she's adapting herself. But when someone pulls back very slightly, your nervous system just spirals into chaos, and you're analyzing every single text message, you're abandoning your own needs just to keep up with the connection, and then you're asking, why do I always attract this? It's because your identity is choosing familiarity over your happiness, and that's just the truth of it. And I want you to understand this and know that it's not something wrong with you. This is literally the way that we are designed, and if you can understand and work with this, then it really is going to help you up level your life so much quicker than wishing ever could. Now, I dove into this last week, but I'll touch on it a little bit again because I feel like it's quite relevant. Your brain is not designed to give you what it is that you say that you want. It is designed to maintain who you believe that you are. And that's neuroscience. It's survival, it's conditioning, it's just the way that we are designed. So if it is your identity that is saying, this is who we are and this is what we say, this is how we stay safe, we stay in this familiar zone of never quite reaching for something, never quite going outside a comfort zone, that's where you're going to stay. And your brain is going to reject anything that threatens that, even if it's better for you, even if it's what you are consciously desiring. And that's why change always feels so uncomfortable, and why you self-sabotage, and why you fall back from things, why you procrastinate on that task. don't do the things that you say you're going to do, because your brain is trying to keep you in that familiar loop. Not because you're lazy, but simply because you are loyal to your old self or your old identity. So I want to talk about another analogy that I quite liked, that I think is quite good to relay this idea. So trying to create a new reality with an old identity is like trying to run new software on an old operating system. You can force it all you want, you can push, you can willpower your way through, but eventually it's going to glitch, it's going to crash, and it's going to revert back to the old way, because that system hasn't been upgraded, and that is exactly the same as us. And I want to go through why healing alone doesn't actually work, because I've been stuck in this healing loop, and when you first get into the self-development world, it's very easy to get caught in this trap. I have countless other videos about that, so go back and watch those, but I just want to touch on it a little bit in this video. You literally cannot heal your way into a new life and a new reality. You have to decide your way into one. You have to decide that this is who you're going to be, and live and breathe and become that person. You cannot be old identity and wish and push away to change. You have to change what's underneath, and take on the habits of that new identity and who you want to become, because identity is really what moves the needle in your life. And until you decide that this is who I am now, your nervous system, your habits, your choices, and your reality is going to just keep pulling you back into that familiar zone. I want you to know that real change, when you see real lasting change in your life, is going to happen when you stop asking, how is it that I fix myself? I saw this thing where I had to go back into my childhood wounds and fix all of that before I can actually move forward. No, I want you to start asking yourself, who am I choosing to be? Even before this feels natural to you, who is it that you are choosing to be? Those stories of the traumas, I'm not talking about big T traumas here, I'm talking about small T traumas, something, maybe someone said something to you when you were younger. They're just stories that you can let go of any single time that you wish. So just because something happened to you, so and so called you this, you are not labeled that thing. You can change it at any single moment that you want, and I really wish that more people understood that. Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent because I'm really passionate about that. Labels and stories, and keep people so stuck in their lives and stuck looping and in patterns that don't serve them. So I also have other videos on that, but that is another topic that I'll dive into. But let's get back to your identity, because the moment that your identity shifts, everything else in your life is going to reorganize around it. Your standards, your behaviors, your boundaries, and your entire reality. Trust me, you will see it. And I really encourage you also to go and watch a video that I made about your reality being a mirror. And if you haven't actually seen this concept in your life, I highly recommend that you try it. It's like whatever you're focusing on is mirrored back to you. And this is exactly the work that we do inside the self-elevation experience. I'm not going to hype you up. We're not going to overfirm your dysfunction. We don't endlessly analyze the past. We rewire your identity so the woman that you are becoming feels normal in your nervous system. And that is when your reality is going to respond. The link is below, and I want you to remember that if you have been trying to change your life, but you keep ending up back in the same patterns and the same loops and attracting the same things, it's not because you're failing in life or you're lazy or you're broken and you need healing. It's because you've been asking an old identity to build a new future for you, and that's just not going to happen. And today I want you to realize that you get to decide differently. So I'll see you in the next video.